Hey, it's Marty here. I wanted to take a special occasion on a Sunday afternoon. I've come into the office and I wanted to shoot a little video because I think it's really relevant with clients and with my network and community of entrepreneurs to be sharing some secrets and some of my experience. Now, I realize the last little while has been a few days and such has been a state of panic, but I want to talk about the impact from a business owner perspective and some things that we can be doing right now to be taking action to be more effective. Okay, and I've made a number of notes here. I really want to focus this on business stability because really what we're trying to get back to is away from the panic and back to stability in our client base, in our revenues, in our cash flow. Now I realize this could be different for different clients and for different business owners. So some of you being retail, it may be more immediate. Some people that are in more industrial or business to business, it could be a longer term effect. So I don't mean to make these suggestions, although it blankets everybody, but I want every business owner and every one of you to be thinking a little bit about how can I use that information or how is that relevant? These are some of the lessons I got in 2009 when I was in the restaurant business, and my sales in January of 2009 fell 43%. So you can imagine, much like right now, things became a ghost town instantly. December of 2008, Christmas was canceled corporately. All that big cash windfall that we normally had didn't happen. And then in January 2009, sales were off 43%. Later in 2010, I took over Rare Method, a publicly traded marketing company. When I came in, sales had just dropped about 60%, and in the previous quarter, we'd lost $993,000 in a quarter, in 3 months. So I'm familiar with this idea of tailspin and how to come into that. And so I want to talk about some of the things that impact that. The first thing I want to mention is that from a business owner perspective, panic can kill a business. There's a real state of leadership that you and I have as business owners where we have to be the ones sort of calming the waters and easing people's anxiety. And so panic can kill your business. So the first thing I want to stress is to not be panicking. You know, you've probably heard me say that impatience burns cash or impatience loses money. Well, panic kills a business in terms of all the strategy that you need to be moving forward. You have to get back to that place of calming down. And that might mean taking a little bit of time out to just take some deep breaths, get away from certainly the media, and take some time. But let's avoid some panic. Adaptation at this point in your business is absolutely necessary. Now, for some people, that means they can move a lot of the business online. But for most companies, we have the ability to move meetings online. We have the ability to connect with people through everything from Zoom to telephone to email to text. So our ability to connect with our network, our customers, our vendors, all those people, we can still do that. So the first thing you have to do is keep those connections. And if it means just doing it online, then do that. But adapting the business right away, more communication is required. Everybody needs to know that, hey, you're still in business, you're still ready to do it. More leadership from you, both with your team, with customers, vendors, out to the community. It's important for that. And I think most importantly, try some new things. If you're not sure, try it now. There's nothing like this sort of situation where you've got this health scare that you have the ability to try something. And even if it flops, people respect the fact you're trying it. It's a great chance to be innovating and looking at, okay, what do we need to do into the business differently? I expect that the anxiety and the change here is going to be pretty dramatic for weeks, and then into the months, it's going to smooth things out and you're going to see some of that normalcy come back. But in some people's business, I think of a couple clients, it's going to have an effect all through 2020 and even into 2021. So we have to be thinking about new geographies, new products, new ways to sell it, some broader strategy I won't touch on now. The number one thing that I want to talk about is communication. And communication has to be, when I came into the agency in 2010, it was a panic. We were losing cash, we were losing customers, and we were losing staff. You have to calm the staff down and let them know that, hey, we're going to weather this storm. We're going to get through this. Yes, there's going to be some bumps, but it's okay. In saying that, I also want you to be clear and honest with people that in 2009, we made the commitment to staff, no matter what, we were not going to lay anybody off. And there was a point where we were dumping cash into the business and losing so much money that there was a chance of me going broke. Meanwhile, my staff were all getting paid. There's a balancing act there. So I want you to commit to staff, to keep them in the loop, that there may be things that they have to adapt to too, reduced hours, who knows what. But I think the important thing is to start to communicate with your team that, hey, we're in this. Yes, there's a lot of panic out there, but that doesn't mean that we need to panic here. You have to be thinking about your staff and your team all being able to communicate to your customers and sending a message out to everybody. So it's critical that they feel a reduced anxiety and feel like your leadership is directing the ship, directing the business, and going to be that guidance that they need. And just help them calm down and realize there's lots of forces out there like media who are trying to pump their tires all the time, and that coming back to work, whether they're working remotely or in the office or in the clinic, is all of those things. You're the one who's going to be able to say, hey, and send out a message consistently about let's keep it calm. The second thing is communicating with clients. Now, this seems obvious, and I've seen lots of companies who have blitzed out some sort of COVID-19 email. But what I'm talking about here is phoning clients, having a live conversation, giving them, hey, this is what's going on in our business. How's the things with you? If you've got a broad client base, okay, maybe you have to communicate with email. But I love the idea, if things are slow and people aren't coming in, have your whole team start making phone calls. We're just touching base. We want you to know you're valuable. We want you to know we're still open for business. Communicating with your client base is so critical. You know, even in the big recession a decade ago, people said, oh, sales are off 30%. That means that your market is still there 70%. 70% of your clientele and transactions are happening. So I want you to be able to focus on that, to be able to focus on stabilizing and securing those people that aren't going to be in a panic state, those people that aren't going into a bunker and locking themselves down for 2-3 weeks or months. So in doing that, they have to be able to have that personal conversation, that personal connection. Zoom, if it's not phone, is a great thing to phone somebody around the world. I do it with friends and with clients. And so use the technology, but make connection with people and let them know, hey, we're still doing business. We're still here to take your order. And watch. That sort of reassurance with a live person is much better than a blitz email to everybody saying, hey, we're spraying everything down and we're washing our hands. Make connection. Connection with people is going to drive your business. The next thing I want to talk about is asking for help. If there's things you need in your business, then ask for it. Ask your community, ask your customers, ask your vendors. At the same time, also ask those people, hey, what else do you need? Ask your customers, what can we do to help you? How can you be more secure coming back to us and doing business with us? There might be simple things they ask for that allow you to continue to do more business as normal. The fourth thing is adapting the business. Immediately grab your team and say, hey, what do we need to do to adapt? Make it a team exercise to be able to say this adaptation is something we can all do together. You might as well implement ideas and work together on those things. And I think you're going to find the innovation and ideas they have, even with customers being involved, is going to be way more profound than you could think of alone as a business owner. The fifth thing is create some reasons to buy now. With a whole portion, let's say it is 30% of your immediate market going away, let's talk about reasons why now is a good time to take action. My financial advisor and past client has said, hey, there's no better time in the market to buy right now. Everything is on sale, and that's part of the message they're pushing, and it's actually, in fact, helping their business. They did an email blast, and he said out of the 30 responses, 20 people said, I want to double down, I want to put more money in. That is a great way to create a reason. This is why you want to buy now. This is why it's a great time to take care of your health. This is why it's a great time to be starting that project. This is a great time. Give them reasons to be thinking positively about how they can get ahead of their competitors and how it's a good time to be taking action. The next thing is hammer your marketing and selling. Now, if anybody knows, I talk about marketing and selling as key pieces all the time anyway. But I have to tell you, there's never a time to be talking to prospects and getting on the phone with people. If you know that that pie has shrunk, the clients and prospects who might be looking, then you have to be doing more activity. It might mean cold calls for some people, going back to your database, doing some test sales and discounts and things like that. Although, you know, I don't like to add value when you can. The next thing I want you to be able to do is increase your knowledge. If there's anything in the business you need to know about or increase, then do that. Right? Now's a great time to be learning, not a great time to be shrinking back and just panicking and worrying. Knowledge is power, and you can share that with staff, customers, and anybody in your business community. The last thing I'd say is cut non-essential costs. Finally, number 8, I get to start to cut costs. You have to be able to look and say, okay, what can we afford? One of the great lessons for me in trying to manage a business that was scaling and falling apart in 2010 was that I had to always be thinking, how do I get to profitability today? As I could see sales drop, I had to be able to say, okay, where do I cut labor? Where do I make cuts to non-essential things? Totally understand that. But there's lots of things you need to be able to do before you just panic and start to slash and burn things. People often slash and burn sales effort and marketing budgets. It's the last place you want to cut, right? But you may have to look and say, okay, what can we put on hold? What can we move off? The last thing I can offer is the ability to say, hey, if you need help strategizing, that's what I want to do. I want to be able to make sure that you feel I've got a plan, that things are secure, that yes, it's a bumpy road right now. It's something you may or may not have experienced before, but it can be worked through. And I want to be a resource for you to do that, okay? So I hope you have a great week. I'm going to be talking to lots of all of you that are clients, but if there's any way that I can provide value in terms of strategy, tactics, how to roll things out, about being a sounding board for anybody, please reach out. Glad to do that. Anyway, I hope you have a great week. Here's to business stability and to your success long term.